Awaken the one who watches, a metaphysical journey beyond the mind. Introduction. There is a voice in your head. It speaks without invitation. It narrates your life, judges your actions, replays your past, and invents your future. It sounds like you, but is it really? René Descartes once dismantled the entire world with a single act: doubt. He withdrew from everything the senses offered, questioned every thought that passed through his mind, and stripped reality down to its barest root. When all else vanished, one certainty remained: Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But what if that conclusion was not an arrival, but an entry point? What if the I that thinks is only a surface, and beneath it there is something deeper, something more ancient than thought, more enduring than memory, more real than any identity the mind can manufacture? This audiobook is not a presentation of ideas. It is an encounter, a descent through the architecture of illusion into the groundless presence that sees without speaking, the one who watches. Inspired by Descartes' relentless pursuit of truth, Awaken the One Who Watches invites you into a new kind of inquiry. Who is behind your thoughts? Not philosophically, not theologically, but experientially. Through each chapter, you will peel away the noise of identity, belief, and memory, until all that remains is a stillness that cannot be named but can never be denied. You will not be asked to believe. You will be asked to observe, to watch the thinker without becoming the thought, to meet the body not as a trap, but as the soul's chosen expression, to stand in the center of your life, clear, silent, awake. This is not self-help. This is not an abstraction. This is the mirror cleaned of its dust. This is the self before language. And this is only the beginning. Welcome to the Middle Book, a series for those no longer satisfied with borrowed truths, for those standing between the old world and a deeper, wordless knowing, for those ready to hear the silence behind every thought. Because now, the one who watches awakens. Chapter 1. The Great Dissolution, Doubting the World. Before truth can rise, illusion must dissolve, not because the world is false, but because the way you see it has been layered in dream dust. A projection, a presumption, a parade of assumptions passed down, never questioned. Let's begin not by reaching for more, but by letting go of what was never truly yours. What if nothing you believe about yourself is real? Not your name, not your age, not your fears, your titles, your desires, or your memories. What if these are only costumes, threads in a dream stitched together by repetition? The sages of old knew, before the soul awakens, it must be stripped bare. And so we begin, with doubt. But this is not the doubt of despair. This is a sacred doubt, the holy fire that burns falsehood to reveal the eternal. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of the body. Now question it. Are you inside this body? Or is this body inside you? When you were a child, your body was smaller. But did you, the one who is aware, shrink or grow? You have seen your face change in mirrors, but has the watcher behind the eyes ever aged? You call this the external world. But have you ever truly touched it? What you know of fire, of sky, of stone, you know through sensation, but sensations come to you as pulses, as electrical impulses inside the mind. Where then is the world? Outside or within? Let us go deeper. Every night you fall asleep, and in that sleep whole cities rise. You run, fly, fall in love, taste rain, speak to the dead, and believe it. Then you awaken and say, it was just a dream. But how do you know this moment now is not another dream? Because it's consistent, because you've seen it before. So too is the dream. So too is the lie. The Buddhists call this realm Maya, the veil of illusion. The Gnostics called it the world of the demiurge, a reflection, not the light itself. The Hermetists said, as within, so without. The universe is a mind, and you are inside the thought. Now question the senses. They say the sun rises and sets. But does it? They say the earth is still, but it spins. The senses do not see truth. They report appearances, like flawed translators at the edge of a mystery. Smell, taste, sound, touch, all are electrical echoes interpreted by your brain. Not the real is but a simulation, and yet you trust them. You call them reality. You say, "This is who I am." But your identity changes in the face of loss, of love, of time. Who were you before the first thought? Stop now. Empty the cup. Do not believe your thoughts. Do not resist them. Just watch. Who is watching? There, that silence, that space between thoughts. That is where we begin. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them rise and fall, like clouds in the sky of your awareness. You are not your memories. They change, they fade, they lie. You are not your name. That is a label, not a self. You are not your body. That is a garment, not the weaver. So what are you? Not what, but who? This is the great dissolution. Not destruction, but revelation. Peeling away illusion, not to fall into nothing, but to fall into everything. You do not need to find the truth. You need to unlearn the false. The real has always been here. Still, waiting, quiet. It cannot be described, only remembered, only recognized. It begins with a whisper, "I do not know," and ends in silence. From that silence, something ancient stirs. A presence behind the noise, an eye behind the eyes. It has no age, no face, no fear. It watches, and now it begins to awaken. Chapter 2. I Am the First Truth. There comes a moment when the world grows silent, not because the wind has ceased, nor because the birds have hushed their song, but because something within you has stopped reaching outward. This moment is sacred. The mind has questioned everything. The senses have been brought to trial. The body has been seen for what it is, a robe worn by the formless, and what remains now is not absence, but presence, not a void, but a truth. Silent, glowing, indivisible. You find yourself here, not with answers, but with the one realization that does not require them. I am. No further description, no category, no attachment, just being. This is the first truth, the most intimate of truths, the only one that does not need to be believed because it is already known, beneath thought, beneath form, beneath time. Try to doubt your own existence. Try with sincerity to declare, "I am not," and see what happens. The very attempt to deny your being only reveals it more clearly. There is someone here who sees, someone here who hears, someone here who knows, not the voice in your head, not the name you were given, not the story you've told 1,000 times, but the one who watches all of it. This witness has no name. It does not age. It has no nationality, no beliefs, no agenda. It simply is. And that is why this chapter is not about gaining knowledge, but about remembering what you've never truly forgotten. The ancient sages pointed to this, not to create new philosophies, but to help you peel away all that is not essential. In the Upanishads, they said, "You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the breath, you are the self, pure awareness." Ramana Maharshi, the silent saint, asked his disciples only one question: who am I? And not to find a label, but to find what remains when every label fades. The mystics of Kabbalah called it the Ein Sof, the limitless, that which cannot be grasped, but in which all things arise. Even in the Christian tradition, there is the echo of this same truth. Before Abraham was, I am. Not a statement of ego, but a declaration of eternity. So what does it mean to say I am? It does not mean a body. That changes. It does not mean a thought. That fades. It does not mean a mood or an idea or even a memory. All of those come and go. But you, the one who sees them all, you remain. You were there when your first memory arose. You were there when grief burned your chest. You were there when joy lifted you like wind under wings. And you are here now, still, watching, silent, unchanging. There is a presence inside you that cannot be defined, but without which nothing could be known. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. The wave has a beginning and an end, but the ocean is never born, it never dies. It only appears in different forms. So too with you. You appear as a body, as a voice, as a role. But these are only the clothes you wear in the theatre of time. Beneath the mask, you remain infinite. Say it now, quietly. I am, and stop there. Do not continue. Do not say what you are. Just rest in that knowing. I am. Let it vibrate in your chest. Let it expand like light within your ribs. That presence, that quiet hum of being. That is you. Not your face, not your fears, not your goals, but the one who sees them all pass like clouds across a sky that never moves. If you are not your past, and you are not your future, and you are not the objects of your perception, then what are you? You are the subject, the seer, the knower. The mind thinks thoughts, the senses receive impressions, but you are the field in which all of it appears. This is why awakening is not about changing who you are. It's about realizing what you've always been. You do not need to fix yourself to reach this truth. You only need to remove what you are not. Every time you say, I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm lost, you are unconsciously attaching passing states to something eternal. Being is not tired. Awareness is not anxious. The watcher is never lost. The storm passes, but the sky remains. You are that sky. You are not the noise. You are the silent listener to the noise. You are not the fire. You are the space in which the fire burns. You are not the story. You are the blank page on which the story is written, and which remains after the ink has faded. This is the foundation of all metaphysical wisdom. Not a belief, not theory, but direct recognition. There is something within you that does not move, that does not strive, that does not seek. It is already whole, already complete, already home. And from this place, all healing begins, all clarity emerges, all love flows, not because you've added something, but because you've returned. So, in this moment, pause. Let the thoughts wander. Let the body breathe. Let the world spin, and return to that sacred center within, the unshaken, the still, the I am. Not I am this, not I am that, just I am, here, now, forever. Chapter 3. The Mirror of the Infinite. Where thoughts come from. A thought appears. From nowhere. It comes. You didn't summon it. You didn't ask for it. You didn't even know it was coming until it was already here. Where then did it come from? And where does it go? The mind moves like a river. But most people have never stepped back far enough to see the river flowing. They are caught in the current, carried by the water, believing every thought that arises must be true, must be theirs, must be them. But you are no longer in the current. You have stepped onto the riverbank. You are watching now, and in that watching, a new power awakens. Thought is not your enemy. It is not to be destroyed, but it must be seen for what it is. A tool, a lens, a flicker of the infinite, shaped by memory, desire, and belief. Most people live as prisoners of their thoughts, but never stop to ask, where do these thoughts come from? Do they rise from the body, from the past, from the soul, or are they simply waves, dancing across the surface of something much deeper, something silent? Let's look closely. You sit in stillness. You close your eyes, and there it is. The first flicker, a memory, a judgment, an image, a song you haven't heard in years. The mind is like a room with no walls, filled with echoes that were never truly yours. Inherited thoughts, social programming, parental voices, traumas and beliefs are collected like dust on a mirror, but the mirror itself, that's what we're after. Because beneath all thoughts, beneath the noise, there is a perfect, still mirror. And that mirror is consciousness. In the East they called it Chit, pure awareness. The Gnostics called it the divine spark. Mystics call it the presence. Quantum philosophers speak of a field, an intelligent, non-local substratum behind all matter. What they all hint at is this: you are not the content of your mind. You are the space in which the content arises. You are not the thought. You are the light that allows it to appear. You are not the story. You are the page. Now consider this. A thought can be kind or cruel. It can liberate or torment. It can create entire realities without ever being true. And yet, we treat thoughts as gods. We bow to them. We believe them without question. We shape our identities around them. But a lie told by the mind is still a lie, and a belief repeated is not the same as truth. You must become the seer, not the seen, the knower, not the known. The observer who recognizes this is just a thought, a cloud, not the sky. Where do thoughts come from? Some arise from memory. They are echoes of what once was. Others rise from desire, visions of what might be. Still others come from fear. Stories are written by the body's need to survive. But the deepest thoughts, the ones that feel like revelations, those rise not from the body or the past, but from the infinite itself. They are gifts, not from your brain, but from the field in which the brain exists. They shimmer with silence. They arrive fully formed like seeds from a higher garden. You do not create them. You receive them. Einstein spoke of it. Tesla called it the secret of all inventions. They did not invent their ideas. They tuned into them. Like a radio receiving frequencies, your consciousness is a receiver. It picks up thoughts from many levels, from instinct, from memory, from culture, from the cosmos. Your job is not to chase every thought, but to become a better receiver, to rise into the clearer frequencies, to tune your awareness to the higher stations of truth, to recognize that the voice of fear and the voice of intuition do not come from the same source. Watch your thoughts and you will see. Some is noise, some are old recordings, some are whispers from your soul, and a few are not yours at all. Yes, some thoughts are not your own. Just as radio waves pass through you every second, so too do collective fears, societal patterns, and ancestral memories. You are not to blame for every thought that crosses your mind, but you are responsible for what you choose to dwell upon. The thought may appear, but only you can give it power. The mind may suggest, but only you can say, "Yes, I agree." And this is your freedom, to observe without attaching, to feel without becoming, to think without identifying. When a storm passes across the sky does not move. It holds the storm, but it is not shaken by it. You are that sky. Thoughts will come. They always do. But you no longer have to follow them into darkness. You can simply say, "I see you, but I am not you." And in that moment you return to the mirror that reflects all things, but it is touched by none. The mirror that holds every world, but belongs to no world. This mirror is your essence. It does not think. It does not speak. It does not argue. It simply reflects. It is pure awareness. It is the infinite, wearing your shape. And now you have seen it. You have seen yourself. Chapter 4. The Presence of the Absolute. Reconsidering God. God. A word spoken for centuries. Feared, worshipped, denied. Painted on ceilings, debated in halls, and whispered in the silence of sleepless nights. But let us pause. Let us step outside of every book, every doctrine, every image shaped by human hands. Forget the God you were taught. Forget the one with a beard, the one in the clouds, the one who punishes and rewards like a celestial judge. This chapter is not about belief. It is about recognition, not of a being, but of being itself. There is a presence, timeless, unformed, beyond gender, beyond name, beyond religion. You have felt it before, in the stillness between thoughts, in the awe that overtakes you as a newborn opens its eyes, in the vastness of the stars, in the grief that cracks your heart wide enough for light to pour in. This presence is not found in argument, but in surrender, not in answers, but in the question that remains after all others fall away. The ancients spoke of it. The Upanishads called it Brahman, infinite consciousness, the source and substance of all that is. Plotinus called it the One, the fountainhead from which all forms descend. Spinoza saw it as Deus sive natura, God or nature, indistinguishable. The mystics of every lineage bowed before it, not out of fear, but out of reverence for the mystery they could feel pulsing within their own being. This is not the God of separation. This is the Absolute, the one reality behind all appearances. Close your eyes. Forget everything you've been told. Now feel. There is an aliveness within you, a current, a presence that cannot be reduced to thoughts or form. That is not yours. It is you, yes, but it is also more. It is the very life that animates you. And yet, it is also the space in which your life unfolds. It is the breath that breathes you, and the silence that holds the breath. This presence has no religion. It has no laws, no punishments, no enemies. It does not demand. It does not wait. It simply is. You may call it God, or the universe, or source, or the divine. The name does not matter. Names are for the mind. This is for the soul. And your soul knows, not because it was taught, but because it remembers. You see, you were never separate. There was no fall, no exile, only the illusion that the wave could leave the ocean. But you are the ocean, pretending to be a wave, searching for the very water that forms your being. Many reject God not out of truth, but out of trauma. They reject the version of God they were sold. The angry father, the silent tyrant, the distant king who watches suffering and remains unmoved, and they are right to reject this, because that God is not God. That is a shadow cast by fear, a projection of the human ego onto the infinite sky. The true presence does not control, it allows. It is not power over you, it is power through you. It is not outside, but within and beyond. And it is calling, not with words but with silence that moves like music beneath the noise. You have felt it, haven't you? In moments of deep peace, in times of stillness, wonder, or unbearable beauty, when tears came, and you didn't know why. When the world stopped spinning and something deeper emerged, when you realized that for a moment you were not thinking, you were being. That is the presence. That is what all the mystics were trying to point toward. Not a man in the sky but the light behind your eyes, not a doctrine, but a direct experience of the infinite now. To reconsider God is not to create a new theology. It is to remove the veil. It is to recognize that God is not something you reach. God is what you are made of. You are a flame, but God is the fire. You are a note, but God is the song. You are a mirror, but God is the light it reflects. And when the mirror is cleaned of dust, the light shines without distortion. So what does this mean for your life? It means you are never alone, because the presence is not somewhere else. It is the very fabric of your being. It means you are not small, because that which looks through your eyes, it is the same essence that holds galaxies in its heart. It means love is not something you find. It is the nature of the ground you stand on, and it means that prayer is not begging. It is remembering. You do not need a temple. You do not need a name for it. Sit, breathe, be still, and you will feel it, not above, not beyond, but here, inside the stillness of your breath, inside the watcher behind your thoughts. It does not speak in language, it speaks in person, and if you become quiet enough, you will hear it, not with your ears, but with your being. God is not an idea to understand. God is the reality that remains when the ideas dissolve. So return now to silence, not to escape the world, but to remember the source from which the world arises, and when you do, you will see. The one you have been seeking your whole life has never left. Because it was never outside you, it was and is and always will be. I am. Chapter 5. Soul, Body, and the Illusion of Separation. You look in the mirror. You see eyes, a face, a body that bends and breathes and bleeds, and you say, "This is me." But that is not you. It is your reflection. A sacred reflection, yes. But still, only the surface. What if the body is not the self? What if the soul is not inside the body, but the body is inside the soul? What if everything you were taught about this division between spirit and flesh, light and matter, soul and skin, was backwards? For ages we've spoken of body and soul as if they are separate partners in an uneasy dance. The body, earthly, dense, mortal. The soul, light, eternal, unreachable. But in truth, they are not enemies. They are not opposites. They are one. Two expressions of the same divine substance, one slow and visible, the other fast and invisible. You are not one or the other. You are the fusion point. You are the living flame where the unseen becomes seen. The soul is not trapped in the body. It chose the body. It entered form not as a punishment, but as a portal. Not to escape the world, but to illuminate it. You came here to embody, to inhabit, to taste existence from within limitation, to remember the infinite while living the finite. This is the mystery of incarnation. The boundless becomes bound, so it can discover itself in time. The Hermetic sages knew, as above, so below, as within, so without. They did not deny the body, they revered it. The body, they said, is the temple of the divine, not in metaphor, but in metaphysical truth. Your breath is sacred. Your heartbeat is an ancient drum, echoing through the halls of the cosmos. Every cell in your skin vibrates with the memory of stars. You are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece of consciousness, sculpted into flesh. The illusion is not the body. The illusion is the separation. The false belief that your soul is somewhere far, watching from a distance, disconnected from your flesh and breath. But the soul is right here, in your fingertips, in the curve of your spine, in the tear that slips down without asking. The soul is what feels, not just emotionally, but viscerally. And every time you've said, "I just know it in my gut," you were listening to the body as a sacred instrument of inner knowing. In truth, the soul and body are not two things. They are two layers of the same being. One is light, one is form. Together, they allow consciousness to awaken within time. Together, they allow the infinite to experience touch, taste, music, grief, wonder. Without the body, the soul is potential. With the body, it becomes experience. But what happens when the body dies? The body dissolves back into the earth. But the soul, the awareness that you are, cannot be burned, cannot be buried, cannot be broken. Why? Because it was never made of matter. It is made of light. And light cannot die. The mystics, the yogis, the visionaries, they all spoke of it. The continuity of consciousness, the reality of the soul beyond the grave. Death, they said, is not the end. It is a return, a shedding of form, so that spirit can move freely again. And even now, your soul is not confined to your skin. It dreams in dimensions the mind cannot map. It visits places in your sleep. It whispers wisdom in moments of stillness. It remembers what you have forgotten. So, how do we live this truth? Not by rejecting the body, not by fleeing the world, but by inhabiting the body as the soul, by walking as light wrapped in skin, by seeing others not as objects, but as sacred expressions of the same source. Touch becomes sacred, breath becomes prayer, movement becomes meditation, and life itself in all its mess and mystery becomes the temple. You are not a soul trying to become spiritual. You are a spirit trying to become human, to love, to break, to heal, to remember. So stop trying to leave the body, return to it. Come back to your breath, your heart, your bones, for they are not cages. They are the doorway through which the divine touches the world, and through which the world begins to remember what it truly is. No matter but meaning, not an accident but art, not separate but whole. Chapter 6. Awakening the Witness, Living from the Source. You have walked through the mirror, you have doubted the world, remembered your essence, watched your thoughts, reclaimed the presence, and reawakened to the soul within the body. Now, something new begins. Not knowledge, not a belief, but a way of being. a way of living from the source. This chapter is not a conclusion, it is a return, not the end of the path, but the beginning of conscious life. It is the birth of the witness within you, the one who sees, the one who knows, the one who chooses to remain awake in a sleeping world. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to illuminate it. The awakened soul does not rise to the clouds to abandon earth. It brings the heavens down into the heartbeat, into the world, into the action. To live as a witness means to no longer move unconsciously, but to walk in stillness even as the world moves around you. It means to speak, but from silence, to act but without grasping, to serve but without the sacrifice of the self. It means to remember in each breath, I do not think this thought. I am not this emotion. I am the space in which they appear. The witness does not resist life. It allows life to pass through, like wind through an open field. Joy, sorrow, confusion, beauty. Nothing clings to it. Nothing defines it, because it is rooted in the unchanging. When you awaken the witness, you become the eye of the storm, still, centered, untouched, even as the world swirls in chaos. This is the heart of true spiritual power, not to control, but to observe without fear, to stand in truth even when the truth is invisible to others. To live from the source is to live from awareness, not a reaction. Most people live like sleepwalkers, reacting to every shadow, every noise, every story, but you are no longer asleep. You are the watcher of the movie, not the character trapped in the plot. You can feel anger rise without becoming it. You can sense fear without following it. And in that space, between stimulus and response, you are free. Free to choose. Free to act from truth. Free to return to peace. The great sages did not say, conquer the world. They said, know thyself. And now you do. Not as an idea, but as an experience. So what now? How do you walk through life? With this awareness intact, you live deliberately. You speak with presence. You listen without needing to fix. You act without seeking to prove. You give without needing a return. You stop measuring life by outcomes and begin measuring it by alignment. Am I in harmony with the source? Am I speaking from the stillness within me? Am I moving with the current of truth or against it? These become your compass. To live from the source does not mean perfection. It means presence. It does not mean never falling. It means waking up when you fall. The awakened one does not chase enlightenment like a trophy. They return again and again to the silence behind the noise. They remember that every breath is holy, every moment sacred, because the infinite lives here. In this chair, in this city, in this body, in this now. Not in some distant future, but always now. So live now with reverence, not for dogma, but for being itself. Greet each person as if the infinite is looking back at you through their eyes, because it is. Treat your words as spells, your touch as light, your thoughts as seeds, because you are creating reality, not as a concept, but as a vibration that ripples outward with every choice. You do not need to be loud. Stillness is more powerful than noise. You do not need to convert. Your presence is the message, and when doubt returns, as it will, do not fight it. Let it be. Let it pass like a cloud, and return to the witness, to the still space behind the story, to the light behind the thought, to the breath behind the breath. This is the art of awakening. Not to stay above the world, but to bring the clarity of truth into every corner of it, to be the bridge between heaven and earth, between silence and sound, between eternity and now. You are no longer becoming, you are being. You are no longer seeking, you are remembering. You are no longer afraid. You are watching fear arise and fall, like all illusions do, and you are smiling, not because life is perfect, but because you are no longer bound by it. You have returned to the source, and the source is love, the source is presence, the source is you. So walk now in peace, not because you escaped the world, but because you finally entered it as the one who watches, and that one cannot be touched, cannot be broken, cannot be lost. It only waits to be remembered, and now it has been. And from this moment forward, you no longer live for truth. You live from it. Epilogue: The One Who Watches. This book was never meant to teach you something new. It was meant to help you remember what you have always known, not as knowledge, but as the truth that lives in your bones, a truth that breathes between each heartbeat, a truth that has watched your whole life unfold from behind your eyes. This is the gift of awakening, not to add more, but to finally see through what was never real, to realize you are not your name, you are not your past, you are not even your thoughts, you are the witness, the still flame at the center of all motion, the silent one who never leaves, the light that sees the light. You have traveled far, from doubt to awareness, from thought to stillness, from identity to essence, from separation to the one. But truly, you have not moved at all. You have only turned inward. You have only come home. You have stood at the edge of illusion and chosen truth. You have looked into the void and remembered that you were never it. You were always the mirror, always the sky, always the space in which God whispers without sound. So now you walk as one who remembers, not above the world, but within it. You do not preach. You do not push. You simply live with presence, and that presence changes everything. You become the stillness in the chaos, the eye in the storm, the peace in the noise. You become the quiet reminder that there is something more, something eternal living in every moment. And when the mind forgets, because it will, you will not panic. You will return to the breath, to the silence, to the witness, and in that return you will remember again, and again and again, because the one who watches never left. It was never lost. It only waited for you to look within. So walk gently now. Speak from the stillness. Move with reverence. And know this: you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, reflecting itself in this moment of time. You are not becoming. You are being. You are not seeking. You are found. You are not the story. You are the source. You are the light. You are the one who watches. And now, you are awake.